Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the SWUS NBA Thursday. We got 6 games on the board. As far as Wednesday night, I lost some money. I mean, it wasn't a terrible night. It looks a lot worse than it was. I threw down a couple half-unit bets on some big college basketball underdogs, playing some of that March Madness. So I lost a couple half-unit bets there. As far as the NBA, I went 1-2. Memphis, Oklahoma City didn't even come close. Got 5 points of closing line value in that as well. So I didn't get that one. What game did I win, though? I won the Bucks. That one was easy. And then what was my other loss? Oh, Heat Cavs. Yeah, low-scoring second half. It looked great at halftime, low-scoring second half. So I went 1-2 in the NBA. Thursday night, let's do it.
I mean, is Cooper Rush worth 2.5 points?
I would hope Quinn Ewers put up a decent stat line against Arizona State. If he didn't, we have a real problem.
You can say the same thing about Creighton. Okay, they had the one good game against Kansas at home.
When Toast talks about the kicking market, it's like some earth is flat shit. Andy, true or false, this is going to be a dog walking.
Dog walking. This is my dog walking of the day. I think it's going to be very ugly. Dog walking. I think this is going to be ugly.
Hey, get the sauce. First up, we got Chicago on the road in Orlando, and we've got injuries everywhere in this one, specifically on the Bulls side. Check this out. Josh Giddey, questionable. Lonzo Ball, questionable. Kevin Huerter, questionable. Patrick Williams might be back. He's listed as questionable. Vooch, probably not coming back. He's listed as doubtful. On the Orlando side, obviously no Jalen Suggs. We took him off the graphic. Cole Anthony is on the injury report as well. He's listed as questionable. So hear me out on the Magic. I know they've lost 4 home games in a row. They're 0-4 straight up, 0-4 against the spread in their last 4. All 4 of those games at home. But eventually we are going to find a spot to play on this Magic team. I mean, you do have to take into consideration that in those 4 losses, one was Golden State, maybe the hottest team in the NBA. You got Cleveland, maybe the best team in the NBA right now, certainly a top 3 team in the NBA. And then 2 games against Toronto, who, as we pointed out, was a terrible matchup against Orlando. Betting Toronto against slow-paced defensive teams, that's been super profitable this year. So you got Golden State, Cleveland, hottest team in the NBA, best team in the NBA, and then a team twice in a row who's a terrible matchup for you. So is Chicago the matchup where we can finally make a play on this Magic team? Well, on the season, they've split. The Bulls won in Chicago. The Magic won in Orlando. They haven't played since November 27th. One game was super low scoring. One game was super high scoring. So really nothing to take away from that. As far as this matchup in particular, it's a bit of a tough one because normally I'd say Orlando's defense is a very tough matchup for the Bulls offense. Chicago's been an extremely three-point reliant offense. They're second in three-point frequency on the season, third in the last 10 games. And normally Orlando's a defense that doesn't let you get those shots off. So normally this would be a tough matchup for the Bulls. But look at the last 5 games for the Magic defensively. They're 20th in frequency, 28th in efficiency against the three-point shot. So I don't know if we can rely on the Orlando perimeter defense right now. If we were confident in the Orlando perimeter defense right now, this would be a nice angle to fade Chicago. On the season against top 10 defenses in terms of three-point frequency, the Bulls are 4-11-1 against the spread. So if we knew the Orlando perimeter defense was going to round back into form, this would be a solid bet here. This would be a nice angle for the Magic, but I just don't know if I could trust the Orlando perimeter defense right now. Now, the Magic have played solid defense down low. We have to give them that. In the last 10 games, they're third in the NBA in defensive efficiency in the paint. The Bulls against top 10 paint defenses, 5-16 against the spread. So there's something if you're trying to bet Orlando here. The problem is, on the other side of the court, how can we trust Orlando's offense right now? Chicago's been awful defending the three-point shot. One of the worst defenses in the NBA against the three-point shot right now. In the last 10 games, they're 29th in defensive efficiency against the three ball. Here's the thing. Orlando has no outside shooting presence. They haven't all year. They've been one of the worst three-point shooting offenses in the NBA. So is Orlando even equipped to exploit the weakness of the Bulls' defense? This Orlando offense attacks the interior. They take a lot of mid-range shots. They take a lot of shots in the paint. That's actually where the Bulls' defense has been all right. As far as betting this game, I think Orlando is the play here. I mean, if a couple of those pieces that are questionable sit for the Bulls, I have this one close to double digits. So at 6.5, 7, it should be a play on Orlando. I know it's disgusting. I haven't bet it yet. If this one touches 6 or 5.5, I will play Orlando at 5.5. As of right now, Magic or pass. Pacers are on the road in Atlanta. These two teams have played just once this year. It was February 1st in Indiana. Pacers won the game 132-127, but did not cover. That actually started a little bit of a cold stretch for the Pacers. Indiana went on a 1-6 against the spread stretch. Miles Turner got hurt right after that. That was right before the All-Star break. Since the break, though, it looks like the Pacers seem to have gotten their shit together a little bit. 5-2 straight up, 5-2 against the spread since the break. Looking like one of the most explosive offenses in the NBA right now. They're 6th in offensive efficiency in their last 10 games. I don't see any reason the Pacers' offensive hot streak doesn't continue here against a Hawks defense that, I mean, let's face it, the Hawks defense hasn't been any good in a month and a half. I mean, most of the season, the Hawks defense hasn't been very good. They're 24th in defensive efficiency in the last 10 games, and specifically, the Hawks defense has been really bad against jump shooters, which is actually a good matchup for the Pacers, because this is not last year's Pacers team that attacked the rim, top 5 in rim frequency. Actually, the Pacers have been taking a lot of jump shots. In the last 10 games, they're 8th in mid-range frequency, 9th in three-point frequency against a Hawks defense who in the last 10 games is 28th and 27th in defensive efficiency against those shots. So yeah, I don't see any reason why the Pacers' offensive hot streak doesn't continue here against the Hawks. The thing is, on the other side of the court, can we count on the Pacers' defense to make stops here? Not that the Pacers' defense has been terrible. It's been okay. It's been pretty average, but they cannot keep opponents away from the basket. All Atlanta does is attack the rim. In the last 10 games, the Hawks are 2nd in the NBA in shot frequency in the paint, 3rd on the full season. The Pacers' defensive strength has been on the three-point line, but this Hawks team doesn't really shoot many threes, so I mean, I don't trust the Pacers defense to make stops here. Should be a lot of points scored in this game. As far as injuries in this one, we got Halliburton listed as questionable. Mathurin might be back. He missed a couple of games. He's listed as questionable. On the Hawks side, one second, let me scroll up. We got Trae Young. He's listed as probable. That's not new, though. He's always listed as probable. Other than that, no changes. Nance, Krejci are both been ruled out. So as far as betting this game, I know 2.5 seems like a super short number to bet this Indiana team, but I actually have this one at about 1.5 too, and that's if Halliburton plays. So I kind of lean towards Atlanta, and check what happens if I take Halliburton out of the game here. I actually have the Hawks as short favorites in that instance. So if Halliburton doesn't play, I'm down to bet the Hawks here. So my pick for this game is the Hawks. I haven't bet it. If Halliburton doesn't play, I will pull the trigger on this one. Next up, we're going to talk about Philadelphia on the road in Boston. Not sure how much time I'm going to spend talking about this one. Celtics on 0 days rest this year, 4-5 against the spread, 5-4 straight up. So Celtics actually have lost some games in these types of spots. But Philadelphia, with the rest advantage, 7-7 straight up, 4-10 against the spread. So betting the Sixers when they have the rest advantage has not been profitable, not even close. These two teams have played 3 times this year. The road team is 3-0. Boston beat the Sixers twice in Philadelphia, and the Sixers actually beat the Celtics in Boston. So the road team has never lost in this head-to-head series this year. All 3 games has gone over the total. So if you've been blindly betting the road team and the over in these matchups, you're doing just fine here. As far as this matchup in particular, I mean, there's not many positive things to say about the Sixers right now. And I don't even mean that talking shit. I mean, the team is going through it. They're 2-11 straight up, 2-11 against the spread in their last 13. They look terrible on both sides of the court. They can't rebound. They're injured as hell. You got no Maxey now on top of all the other problems. So there's really just not many positive things to say about Philly right now. I mean, I want to bet the Sixers here, take a big number in a division rivalry. If there is a game the Sixers are going to get up for, it's on the road in Boston. But I just don't think I can do it. Honestly, maybe Sixers, maybe over. I'd say there's a very good chance I don't bet this game. Next. So real quick, since I've recorded that, we got some updated injury reports here. Obviously, no Maxey, no Kyle Lowry. He's been out. Justin Edwards is listed as questionable, and Paul George is on the injury report. He's listed as questionable as well. On the Boston side, we still don't know if Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis will be returning. They've missed the last few games. They're both listed as questionable. Jason Tatum, who sat out last night, he's listed as questionable as well. So, yeah, I mean, it's Sixers plus the big number of pass here. Most likely going to be a pass. Golden State on the road in Brooklyn. These two teams played back in November, and the Nets won outright. Final score was 128-120. Obviously, Golden State right now is a lot different than Golden State back in November. I mean, Golden State looked terrible to start the season. In the last 10 games, the Warriors are 8-2 straight up, 8-2 against the spread. They're second in offensive rating in the last 10 games. Seventh in offensive rating, second in defensive rating in the last 10 games. We do have to question the strength of schedule a little bit when it comes to Golden State. In the last 10 games, they're 21st in strength of schedule, 29th in the last 5. So maybe son of some of Golden State's recent numbers need to be taken with a little bit of a grain of salt. But we're talking about Brooklyn here. The Nets have lost 5 in a row. They're 1-4 against the spread in that span. Now, I do think we expect Brooklyn's offense to get a bit better now that Cam Thomas is healthy, D'Angelo Russell's healthy, both those guys on the floor at the same time. So I think we can expect the Nets offense to be a little bit better as we move forward. And honestly, if you plan on betting Brooklyn in this matchup, that's where you're looking. You're looking at the jump shooters because we know the Nets are not going to be scoring on the interior in this game. They're probably the least efficient offense in the NBA when it comes to scoring on the interior. They're 29th in paint efficiency this year. Golden State top 10 interior defense. So I very seriously doubt we can count on the Nets to score points down low here, but Golden State can be vulnerable to jump shooters. So Cam Thomas, D'Angelo Russell, both healthy, both on the floor at the same time. There's probably going to be opportunities for the Nets to score some points in this game. Remember, the first time they played, the Nets scored 128 points in that game, just 34 in the paint. Death via jump shots the first time these two teams played. Now, on the other side of the court, we know Golden State's going to score points on the Nets defense. I mean, there was a time where Brooklyn was playing elite defense. That was weeks ago. They're playing terrible defense. They can't protect the basket at all. I mean, they really can't defend the three-point line either. So the Nets defense has gone bye-bye. And now that you have D'Angelo Russell and Cam Thomas in your starting backcourt, I very seriously doubt we can count on the Nets defense. So instead of trying to get cute with the Nets plus 10 here, give me the over. I got it at 221.5. I bet this one I'm on the over. Next game. Quick update. So this number is long gone. I bet it at 221.5. It's at 224.5 now. I'd probably still take the over at 224.5. Honestly, I think it should be close to 228. So I would still play it at 224.5. Over next. Houston is on the road in New Orleans for this one. The Rockets have swept the Pellies this year. They've played twice. Both times were in December. The Rockets won both those games comfortably. 2 double-digit wins here against the Pelicans. As far as this matchup in particular, Houston's offense right now is pretty bad, but they might be able to score some points in this one because the Pelicans' defense might be even worse. Pelicans have had one of the worst defenses in the NBA pretty much this whole season. Now, you might look at this matchup and say, hey, this is finally an opportunity for the Pelicans to play a good defensive game. The Rockets' offense really hasn't looked all that good without Fred VanVleet. And I hear you, but the Pelicans have not been good against bad offenses this year. They're 7-9 straight up, 5-11 against the spread. That's against bottom 10 offenses. So even when the Pelicans have seen bad offenses, they haven't been winning, they haven't been profitable. But the main matchup I like for the Rockets here is in the rebounding department, and this is crazy. Check this out. So the Pelicans have struggled to keep opponents off the offensive glass this entire season. They're actually dead last. 30th in defensive rebounding rate. So on the year, this is the worst defensive rebounding team in the NBA, and Houston is the best offensive rebounding team in the NBA. They're first on the season. So we're talking about the best offensive rebounding team in the NBA against the worst defensive rebounding team in the NBA. And Houston has definitely taken advantage of these types of matchups. Look at Houston's numbers against bad defensive rebounding teams. Against the bottom 5 in defensive rebounding rate, they're 10-3 against the spread. Against the bottom 10 in defensive rebounding rate, they're 17-10 against the spread. And on the other side, look when the Pelicans see good offensive rebounding teams. 3-12 against the spread against top 5 offensive rebounding teams. Remember, Houston is first, 5-18 against the spread against top 10 offensive rebounding teams. So we got the best offensive rebounding team in the NBA against the worst defensive rebounding team in the NBA. And New Orleans has been terrible against good offensive rebounding teams, and Houston has been excellent against bad offensive rebounding teams. Seems like a perfect matchup here for the Rockets. And yes, I know Steady Freddie is still out. Still no Fred VanVleet. Other than that, the Rockets should be at full strength for this one. On the Pelican side, they're in pretty good health as well. Brandon Boston's been ruled out, but other than that, they should be good to go. Rockets are coming off 3 straight losses. You got the Pelicans just returning from a 4-game road trip. I like the spot. Give me the Rockets. Houston -5 next game. Quick update on this one. Looks like the line has moved against me a little bit here. You can now get 4.5. Some books still have it at 5. Not worried about it. I mean, sharp action's been getting cleaned out the last few days. I like the Rockets. Sticking with it. Houston. Next up, we got a big game here. Knicks are on the road in LA. Knicks are getting a rematch here. The Lakers just recently came into Madison Square Garden. It was about a month ago. 128-112 was the final score. So Knicks are getting a rematch in this one. And you know what? If the Lakers continue to play at this level, they might take this game as well. We know the Knicks have struggled against good teams this year. In the last 10 games, the Knicks are 20th in offensive efficiency, 25th in defensive efficiency. The Lakers are 11th and 3rd. So no question, in the last 10 games, the Lakers have played significantly better basketball than the Knicks. That being said, we do have to mention the strength of schedule. In the last 10 games, in that same time span, the Lakers are 29th in strength of schedule. The Knicks are 3rd. So yes, the Lakers have played significantly better basketball than the Knicks recently. They've also played a significantly easier schedule. But regardless, I mean, the Lakers have been an elite defensive team recently, and the Knicks have struggled against great defenses all year. On the season against top 5 defenses, the Knicks are 3-8 against the spread. Against top 10 defenses, 7-14 against the spread. And the truth is, this Knicks offense has just been slumping hard recently. Now, Karl Anthony Towns being back is definitely going to help, but Towns only missed 2 games, so it's not like the Knicks can use Towns being out as their excuse for this little offensive slump that they're in. Now, all that being said, I actually think this is a prime spot for the Knicks to break that little offensive slump they've been in recently. So we know the Knicks are an offense that try to get to the basket, right? On the season, they're top 10 in frequency, top 10 in efficiency in the paint. The Knicks love to attack the interior. The Lakers defense had that crazy hot streak protecting the basket, right? But remember, they played a very easy schedule in that span. We saw the Pelicans scoring points on the Lakers down low the other night. I wouldn't be surprised if the Knicks offense snaps the slump here and is able to consistently score on the Lakers down low in this one. And on the other side of the court, this might be a solid matchup for the Knicks defensively as well. Remember, last 5 games, last 10 games, we're seeing the Knicks 3-point defense come around. They're actually 2nd in the NBA in defensive efficiency against the 3-point shot in the last 5 games. Finally starting to look like a Tom Thibodeau coach team. The Lakers have been absolutely launching threes. They're top 3 in the NBA in the last 10 games. This has become a 3-point reliant offense. So this might be a decent matchup for the Knicks defensively. And look, I know betting the Knicks recently has been absolute suicide. They're 2-10-1 against the spread in their last 13. I get it. Betting the Knicks has not been a good idea. But they're 8-5 straight up in those 13 games. So it's not like they're losing basketball games. They're just not covering. We don't get the Knicks as underdogs often. The last time we saw the Knicks catching points was in Memphis. They won that game outright. I'm taking my guys here. I haven't bet on my Knicks very often this year. I think they win this one. Knicks plus 3.5. I also think he gets up and over the total. I'll let you know on the live show if I end up betting the over. But as of right now, I'm going to pull the trigger on Knicks plus 3.5. Let's do it. Live show, 4 p.m. Eastern time. We'll go through every single game on the board. We'll go through some March Madness. We got mid-major conference tournaments going on. If you're able to make it, we'd love to see you in the comments. If you want to see all the bets I currently have open right now, go to KyleKirms.com and click on Open Bets. If you sign up to KyleKirms.com, it also comes with access to the spreadsheets and access to the Discord and all that. So head over to KyleKirms.com if you're interested. Let's have ourselves a nice Thursday night here. Please remember to bet responsibly. Hit me up in the Discord if you need me.